Welcome back, movie fans, to the fantastic 4th anniversary of Hollow Victories, where today we are doing our very first ever 4-way matchup. I am your host, Matt Presents, joined as always by my phenomenal co-host.
Say that again?
Say that again.
Say that again.
Say that again.
There, that's 4. I'm Adam from Your Movie Sucks. You're listening to Sardonicast.
See, I told you last time, right? I've had this idea since the show started. I have always wanted this to be our 4th anniversary. I'm like, there's 4 Fantastic Four movies. None of them are considered particularly good. 4th anniversary, do a 4-way matchup. And despite planning this 4 years ahead of time, it is the most relevant we have ever been. Because there's another Fantastic Four movie coming out in like a week.
Yeah.
So everyone's getting their Fantastic Four retrospectives out right now.
Funny, the same thing kind of happened when we did Godfather and Shrek. They both became slightly relevant again. By the way, I just sent you the audio bits for that, so you can edit that in.
Oh, did you go? You found these all on your own, huh?
Oh yeah, I clipped them.
I thought you were playing like a meme, but you just did that yourself. Very nice.
Oh yeah, I have like a server that's just for transferring files from my phone to Discord, and because of that I'm like, oh, I have all these sound bites. It's also where I have the fucking one I did for the Smosh and Fred episode.
See, I started a second account that I cannot remember the password to, but I send shit to that account all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my phone is really fucking stupid when I try to plug it into my computer. It freaks the fuck out. My computer can't. My computer is stupid, honestly.
My computer has a hard time with my phone as well.
Like it's been very efficient for editing. It renders quickly. I like it, but it is stupid. Bluetooth earbuds and my phone freak it the fuck out up to the point where it doesn't function anymore, and it might continue to fuck with me for the next 5 hours after I try to do that.
Yeah. No, technology is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're doing the Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah, I was happy. I had happily not seen any of these, and now I've seen all of them.
I had seen all except the 94 movie, and I was kind of excited to finally watch the 94 movie. I'm glad to have gotten that one watched. Speaking of, we got a lot of movies to get through, so maybe we should just get into the...
Let's just jump into it.
We're a little late into the video to jump into it, but we are now going to jump into it.
Alright, fair enough.
So, Fantastic Four, the film that did not release in 1994, it had like a screening in 94, and that was the last time it was officially seen. We'll get into the backstory of this film a little later, but let's just start with the plot. There's these two guys, Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom, who are building this machine that's gonna, like, harness all this energy from this, like, space radiation blast that's, like, coming past the planet. The machine malfunctions and, like, really fucks up Victor. They think he's dead. He's not, of course, but they think he's dead at the time. And then, of course, years later, they try this experiment again. It's Reed and a few of the people he knows. His friend Ben Grimm, these kids he used to know these people he used to know when they were kids, the Storms, Johnny and Sue, and all of them are together, and they get... they take the radiation to them in space. Like, they blast off to space and they get hit with this radiation and they crash land on Earth. All of them survive. All of them now have miraculous powers. Of course, the Fantastic Four's powers. Meanwhile, this Victor has been taken back to his home country, where he is in fact now the leader of that country. And he's building, like, a big weapon that runs on diamond. Hold on. So there's another guy. It's really complicated. It's like a weirdly complicated plot. There's another guy who was supposed to be Mole Man. I think he has a different name in this because they didn't have the rights to the Mole Man character from the Marvel comics, but it's supposed to be a Mole Man. And he steals the original diamond and replaces it with a fake, which I think is part of why the Fantastic Four's mission fucks up. But then Von Doom shows up and just, like, takes the diamond from him to run his evil inator, which the Fantastic Four now have to stop in the, like, final 20 minutes of the movie. Michael, what did you think of The Fantastic Four? I should say, this one is called The Fantastic Four to distinguish it from the 2005 film Fantastic Four, and of course the 2015 film Fant4stick.
Or the 2007 film Four. They tried, at least. That's in that it made it as far as being the logo for that film. I think this movie has a lot of merit. I could see someone putting this on and being really charmed by it, by the campiness of it and the cheapness of it. I think that there's some things that to kind of appreciate about it. Like, I think it's the best. Somehow, I think it's the best looking Doctor Doom of the four films. I think that the Thing costume is pretty good for the time, but I have to be honest, this movie bored the hell out of me. I got very little sincere enjoyment from it. It is one where I can at least acknowledge why someone would enjoy it. I think it has merit. It's not for me. There's two parts in this movie that I liked, and both of them were because it was so bad it's good. One of them is the Human Torch. Just the effect on the Human Torch cracked me up at the end.
Oh yeah, it looks like lawnmower man levels of animation.
And the way he's moving around and flying through the sky, I don't know, it just tickled me. The other one is the wedding scene at the end, because I think it's fucking hilarious that the other three are like, well, not, I guess the Thing isn't, but like the Human Torch and Mr. Fantastic are just wearing their Fantastic Four outfits, but Invisible Woman she's still dressed up normally for a wedding. She's still in her bride dress. That's funny to me, but then it really tops the scene off with the stretchy arm waving goodbye. Like, that right there is peak. That shot right there has more charm than anything Fantastic Four 2005 Silver Surfer or Fant4stick did with the stretchy arms. Because I'm just going to say this right here so I don't repeat it a million times throughout this episode. Fantastic Four should not be live action, in my opinion. I do not, it's 100% because of Mr. Fantastic. The other three are fine in live action. A Stretchy Man, I don't even think the very little they shown in the MCU movie that's coming out, I don't think it looks good there either. Like, it's just not, it is so uncanny, it is meant for a cartoon.
I feel that. Honestly, based on the film's reputation, I kind of expected something like really silly, really like some good, so bad it's good stuff. It was a little better than I was expecting it to be, but that's kind of a disappointment because it's also more boring than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was going to be a worse movie, but I thought it was going to be a more entertaining movie. And there is some charm to it. There is definitely some charm to it. Just the low-budget nature of it, and like, all the things it's, like, really trying to do. Like, it really does try. Like,
yeah.
They did not cheap out with this one.
I hesitate to call it bad, because even in terms of the stuff that is corny and goofy about it, it feels intentional. It feels like the Fantastic Four are kind of supposed to be more lighthearted heroes, you know? Because, I mean, they're kind of silly. All four of them are kind of silly ideas. It just pacing wise and, like, watching each scene play out, I wasn't getting much from it. I think that there's some people who would watch this and be pleasantly surprised by it, but it's not for me. It really bored me to tears at points.
Yeah, it's not well paced at all, because it takes them forever to get the Fantastic Four powers. It's like halfway through the movie before they're even the Fantastic Four.
Not the only one who made that error.
Yeah. Although, I was about to say this might have the worst pacing, but Fant Four Stick's pacing is just all over the fucking place. So
Fan Four Stick is such a weird case, but
yeah,
we'll get
we'll
to Fan
get
Four
there.
Stick. It's the grand finale.
Absolutely. Maybe we should cover the history of this one a little. Shout out to our friend Olivia who just put out a video on this, and then refused to watch the movie with us because she's like, I just watched that. No. I almost invited her on this episode, but I'm like, we've already got 4 movies to get through. That's gonna take forever without a guest. So
Yeah.
I have stuff later this year I want her to be involved in. I have some matchups on the docket I would like to have Olivia present for.
It has been a little while since we've had a guest, hasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, I think the last one was Steel and Spawn when we had Cass on.
I mean, I think that's fine. I think it's good to get a decent number out where it's just me and you. But yeah, we'll have to do some more guests this year.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
So the thing with this movie. Oh, the thing. That's one of the guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing with this movie, it was in production. It was set to come out in '94, and Marvel themselves looked at it and they were like, "This is not really what we want for the characters. This is not really what we're interested in making right now. So we're just gonna pay you guys whatever the budget of the movie was and not release this." So it got 1 screening in 1994. Sort of, I guess, just like a preview screening, something for like the people involved to actually watch it. And since then, it's sort of officially been lost, but it was big on like the convention circuit, like back before Comic-Con was like an industry show, back when it was like a niche nerdy thing to go to. They would show the unreleased Fantastic Four movie all the time. VHS tapes of it circulated back in the day. And of course nowadays it's just out there on the internet. We watched a version of it on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's like up in HD.
As lame as that is, that they wouldn't just release it, that story is a better one than what Warner Brothers is doing to this very day.
Yeah.
I will never respect anyone who has something and just chooses not to release it. Just release it. You might get, you're guaranteed to get something back. Someone will go and see that.
The thing with the Fantastic Four movie, though, is like, I think Marvel wanted more serious, higher budget stuff to get made. And I mean, not long after this, they got Blade, and then they got, the X-Men and the Spider-Man movies, which were really big for them. It was rumored for a while, I think Stan Lee was the one who said this, that the film was never intended to be released. That's not true. The people making the film always intended to release it. But when Marvel kind of saw the final product, they made the decision not to release it. And I don't know that I can really say if that was a good or bad decision. Like, I think it definitely ups the mystique of this film. I think we would be a lot less interested in this film today if it didn't have that backstory attached to it.
Right.
But also, like, I don't think it would have hurt them at all to release this,
No, I mean, I've seen worse superhero movies than this.
Sure. I've seen worse Fantastic Four movies than this.
Yeah, it sucks. No matter how much I dislike something. No, because, I was gonna say if it was like a Disney live action remake, I think I'd be okay with that not getting released. But at the same time, it's like, I fucking hate it, but one not getting released isn't gonna stop the others from existing, and two, I mean, let the people have their fucking portfolio project, like, hey, I worked on a Disney movie, here's some of the shots I did, let them have that. So I don't know, I don't think there's any circumstance in which I'm for. It would have to be like a really extreme and specific circumstances for me to be okay with a movie, with someone trying to erase a movie. Or just not releasing it. Because to be fair, in this case, it doesn't sound like they were allowed to play it at conventions. That is better than a lot of the shit that happens now.
No, yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, it's just allowed to exist out there now.
Yeah.
Like, Marvel's just kind of like, Yeah, fine. Watch the unreleased Fantastic Four movie. We don't give a shit.
Yeah, and why? And they shouldn't give a shit. If they did give a shit about it, it'd probably put more eyes on it because it'd be like, oh, what's this movie Disney doesn't want us to see?
And, like, personally, I am of the belief that, like, if Warner Brothers is gonna do this shit, if they're gonna take a completed movie and just, like, write it off for tax purposes, that film instantly public domain. It's gotta be released to, like, the public for free.
No, I mean, I agree.
If you want to write this off on taxes.
It's just, oh man, I could talk about this forever, so I'm just not going to anymore. It's just disgusting fucking behavior, disgusting fucking behavior.
Absolutely.
Anti-art.
In fairness, that's not what happened here.
I spend I spend way more time bad-mouthing Disney than I do bad-mouthing Warner Brothers. But you know what, Warner Brothers? They're better than you. Until you stop fucking doing that shit, they are better than you.
No, I mean, pretty much since Zaslav took over, Warner Brothers has been worse than Disney.
Yeah, no, fuck them. That's just, yeah, that is just, like, the most anti-art thing I think I've ever heard in my entire fucking life.
Yeah, no.
And it's being done to movies I don't even think I would like. I just hate, like, I don't, honest to God, I'm happy that Coyote versus Acme is getting picked up, but I'm doing exactly what I said I didn't want to do, so I'm done. I'm sorry. Let's move on.
Let's talk about some of the effects in this movie, because they're not very good. Although, I mean, like you pointed out, the Doom costume is pretty good in this movie. And it's the only one of these that acknowledges that Doom is the leader of his own country.
I didn't even remember that because I don't remember much from this movie. Boring. I don't know, the effects, I thought the Invisible, what's her actual name? Sue Storm, I guess, but...
Sue Storm, yeah.
But she, I thought the effect on her was kind of weird because they often made her positioned in a way where she looked way taller than she actually was, and all they had to do, they're green screening her, and they're removing the lower half for some of those effects, where, like, half of her body's invisible and half of it isn't, but they have her, like, they just need to position her a little lower on the composition, but they're putting her, like, way too high up. It's like she's standing on a rock or something, but in the shot, she's not standing on a rock. There's no rock below her. So it's just, there's a couple of moments like that where it's like very easy fixes that they're just not doing. For the most part, though, yeah, it's, I don't know, I think the effects blend in with the movie it is, though. So I was kind of okay with that. It's a cheap-looking movie that has cheap-looking effects. It's a little bit less jarring in this movie than it was with some of Fan 4 Sticks, where it's like, this is clearly a modern film that's using fancy equipment.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the effects are, like, one of the funnier parts of the movie, honestly. Like, in terms of, like, silly, campy stuff they got going on, the effects are pretty silly. I mean, especially the CG Human Torch at the end, but that's a whole, that's 1990s CG. But, you know, they got Mr. Fantastic's stretchy arms, which never look very convincing in this film.
No.
And I appreciate that they made a physical thing suit. I mean, it was the 90s, they didn't really have a choice, but, like, I don't really like this suit that much.
I don't know. I think it's alright. I appreciate that it, like, moves with him pretty accurately. That's the thing that I was impressed by, because I still felt like there was, like, a decent amount of expression coming from this thing, despite it being, like, an older costume, where you think maybe all that's gonna happen is, like, the lips move up and down, and they're not even, like, synced what the person is saying that well, because doing that's a pretty challenging thing to do. I think they did a pretty good job with it, though. I do have opinions on all the different things, including the fucking new one, actually. I think the 2005 one is the best one, if I'm being honest.
The 2000s one is definitely the best one, because it's, like, a physical suit that looks good.
I like this one more than what Fan 4 Stick did.
Yeah.
And I know we're not talking about the MCU one today, it's not even out. I don't like the way the MCU is, like, framing it. Like, sometimes when he's facing forward, the eyebrow, like, the brow is so big that it makes his, like, face look really thin. Like, it looks very weird to me at certain angles, the CG model they have for...
He's got, like, a weirdly pronounced brow in the MCU.
Yeah, I almost feel like it just needs a like almost like chubbier face to compensate for that brow. But I don't know. It's not like it's not like god awful of the MCU. But I'm just watching that. I'm just like It feels like another step backwards. Not from it's better than the Fan Four Stick one just because it has like a bigger, it has the budget to look better than the Fan Four Stick one.
Yeah, I also kind of don't like how weirdly naked he looks in Fantastic. 'Cause they don't put pants on him. They need to put pants on him. Although, you know who really needed some pants?
Who?
The Thing in this movie, the Thing's hands looked like uncircumcised dicks. I'm sorry, that's just what I was thinking of anytime I saw them. Like, it looks like an uncircumcised dick. Like, they're weirdly dick-shaped.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
On a pretty unrelated note, I think it's weird that they made Sue Storm someone Reed knew when she was a child.
Yeah, I don't.
She's like 10 and she has a crush on him in college. And then I like 10 years pass, I think. There's like a big time skip in this one. And then it's like, oh, well, she's totally age appropriate for me now. And it's like, I don't know about that, man. You knew her when she was like 10.
It's creepy. It's not a crime, but it's creepy. Yeah, no, I've actually heard people comment about that because that's another thing I forgot from this movie, if I'm being honest. But then I've actually heard people bring that point up, and I'm like, yeah, that is weird.
The scene where we meet like Sue and Johnny as kids is so like honestly during that scene I'm like, Johnny, is this supposed to be the Human Torch? He's a child. What's going on here? And then the time skip happens, and I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense, but also Mr. Fantastic is dating someone he knew when she was 10, and he was in college. That's...
Yeah,
doesn't
not,
sit well with me.
You're not doing that today. Oh, hey, you know what? Maybe the MCU is going to do with that. Maybe they're going to be... I bet that's how the movie's going to open, actually.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. That sounds like something the MCU would do.
Fucking I don't no, it's bizarre. It's bizarre, and anyone today would tell you it's bizarre. I wonder if anyone was weirded out by it back then.
I'm sure some people had to be.
My guess is they were, but I don't know, it just feels like calling out stuff like that is like more recent. I don't know though. Maybe it's just maybe I only feel that way because I was a kid. I didn't notice people commenting on stuff like this until I was an adult. So maybe that's all it is.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, I probably wouldn't have batted an eye at that. It's a bad choice. It's a bad choice. It's not.
It's a bad choice, but it's also kind of easy to miss. I don't think a kid would even like process that.
And I will say, like, I can't think of a ton of movies that have done that. I'm sure it's been done before, but it's also like most films aren't gonna, if there's like a kid that has a crush on an adult character, they aren't going to later actually pair them up. I mean, Richie kind of did that in Plumber Night, but they only lightly.
It is worth saying that like the actors are pretty much the same age because like after the time jump, they just put like white paint in Mr. Fantastic's hair.
Yeah. And that's a part of the character's design. It's kind of funny seeing how these movies do it, because this movie, they have like the full-blown look with the gray hair on the sides. 2005 one, it's there, but it's like a lot less noticeable. And then by Fantastic, it is just not part of the character's look anymore. It is just Miles Teller with black hair.
We'll get to Miles Teller. Do you want to talk about the cast in this?
I mean, I'll try. I don't really know any of them.
I mean, weirdly, they have like kept showing up and stuff. Alex Hyde White was in Nope just like a few years ago.
I still haven't seen that. I would like to.
Jordan Peele movie. I liked it when I saw it in theaters, but I'm like, I definitely need to watch this a second time to like really put it all together, really understand what it's trying to say.
I think they all gave kind of dull performances. I don't remember anything being especially bad. I don't remember anything being especially good. Who played Dr. Doom? Because he was the best one. He was the one that, like, I think delivered the most emotion in his performance.
Joseph Culp was his name. He was in Apollo 13.
Hey, there you go.
That's something.
I thought he did a pretty good job as the villain. It was over the top, but there was like a lot of personality coming from it where I don't know, everybody else just seems so, especially after watching the 2005 one, everybody else just seems so watered down, you know. I didn't get much out of them.
This might be my favorite Doom of the four.
I think I agree.
Three, rather.
I think I agree.
Counting Robert Downey Jr., sure, 4.
I guess we'll see how he does. I don't think
but it's dumb. It's dumb.
It was a decision that was made to bring back some people to get back to watching the MCU. Like it was not a decision that was made because it was the right person for the role. In fact, they have to kind of make him an alternate reality Tony Stark now, which makes it even weirder. Which I don't know. I guess I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until it comes out, because I do think Robert Downey Jr. is a good actor, but I don't trust it. It's not him. I don't trust the decision because someone made that decision.
No, yeah, I'm with you.
He took a brief break to go back to being in real movies with Oppenheimer. I know I'm going to make someone angry by saying MCU isn't real movies. They're real movies, but it's almost like a series. It's almost like you're watching a show.
Yeah. I will say it's like, it was kind of weird to me that Doom is in all of these Fantastic Four movies, because I'm like,
yeah,
I remember him being kind of a broader villain. Like, he went after, like, everyone in the Marvel Universe. And I asked Olivia about this directly, and Olivia's like, okay, yeah, he started as a Fantastic Four villain. He and the Fantastic Four are very intertwined in their stories, but he has branched out and fought like most of the characters in Marvel's universe. Because he's like a really powerful villain.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's just in the name too. It's like Doctor Doom, you know. It just kind of sounds like he sounds like he's probably the Marvel villain. I think Thanos took over that role in the film universe, but like, honest to God, he's clearly a popular villain, but how many people actually knew who Thanos was before the MCU?
Yeah.
Some, but I think everybody knew who Doctor Doom was.
But yeah, Doom is one of like the really big like overall Marvel villains. Granted, they probably didn't include him in the MCU because Fox owned him.
Right.
But I don't know, he's been around. He's definitely in some of the cartoons. Like, he's in like some of the Spider-Man cartoons. He fights Spider-Man all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really funny that in the comics, like, he's the leader of his own country, and apparently he's, like, a really good leader. They all like him. He's, like, nice to his subjects, even though he's, like, an evil villain. The Jeweler was the name of the character I was looking for. Who was originally Mole Man, a Marvel villain, and then they couldn't get the rights to Mole Man for the movie, and they're like, alright, his name's the Jeweler now. Played by Ian Trigger, who has not been in very much.
He's not even really showing up on this cast list, but Google's got a limited cast list for this movie. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had more to say about this cast, but I really don't. The Thing had 2 actors, clearly one for the costume and one without the costume. That's so weird. Why? Fucking Silver Surfer has the same thing, where someone plays the silver.
Yeah, I think someone wears the Thing suit, and then someone does the voice for the Thing.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne voices him.
Plays him when he's grim. No, Lawrence Fishburne voices the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. And then Doug Jones plays the Silver Surfer.
Famed costume actor Doug Jones.
That one makes a little bit more sense because it's like, okay, what we want for the look versus what we want for the voice, but that is not the case with the fucking Thing. They just wanted someone who fit in the costume better, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anything else you want to say about this one?
I was gonna bring up that, Arrested Development kind of did a joke about this movie.
Well, I was so convinced, based on how they did it, that it was like the girl in the Arrested Development episodes. It was like a whole arc with Tobias. I thought it actually was the person who played Sue Storm, just she's older now. But no, I guess not. I guess it was quite literally just a deep cut reference.
Yeah. No, they, like, Tobias is dating an actress who was in an unreleased Fantastic Four movie. But not this one specifically.
Kind of the funny irony with that is that the Russo brothers were so heavily involved in both Arrested Development and Community. And both shows, like, kind of make, like, I don't know, it's kind of funny that it feels like maybe they had a say in that running bit for Arrested Development season 4. And then for Community, they just fucking, in the final episode, they just shit talk the MCU. So I always thought that was funny. Yeah, the Russo brothers, known for directing the Avengers Infinity War and Endgame.
There is a scene in Community where they're just, like, talking about how excited they are for Age of Ultron, and I'm like, oh boy, get ready for some disappointment.
There's one good scene in that movie, and it's when they're trying to lift Thor's hammer. That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of the end of my, like, love affair with the MCU. That was kind of where I started to turn on them, where I'm like, oh, this one was not good. Civil War was where I was fully like, okay, no, I no longer like the MCU. They have overstayed their welcome.
I like Civil War.
I didn't. I was like, there's no stakes to that movie because they'd have to reset the status quo by the end. So no one can die, nothing can happen.
I mean,
it annoyed me.
I hear you, and I think that it's definitely a movie that warrants some criticism, but I also think that, like, on top of just having some really fun ideas for scenes, like that airport fight is really fun. I think it has some lasting consequences. A lot of the world sees, like, Tony Stark is kind of a cold-hearted bastard after that. Steve Rogers is the Captain America's name? Steve Rogers becomes a war criminal after that movie, and that has a minor effect. Really, it doesn't have that strong of an impact. It's mainly just, here's why we're not hearing anything from Steve Rogers or Black Widow until Infinity War, but... You know, I think the silliest thing about that movie is they bothered calling it Captain America 3 when that was basically, to me, that was like the good Avengers too.
It should have been an Avengers movie. They should have just skipped Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm. Age of Ultron was like the only thing that one really efficiently did was get the Hulk out of the picture for Ragnarok, and the hammer actually does come back in Endgame, so that kind of was a setup, but also it's like building into Tony Stark's guilt, but it wasn't... them re-exploring that in Civil War, I think, was more effective than what they did in fucking Age of Ultron.
Anyway, the thing I was going to point out is that Josh Trank also appears in that season of Arrested Development.
Who does he play?
I forget, but he is in that season.
I gotta look that up now. That's funny as fuck. It's just a cameo, so it's nothing big. Oh, and it's specifically in a scene with... specifically a scene about Fantastic Four.
Yeah. He's like the bodyguard at the... Or no, he serves him a cease and desist, I think.
Yeah, Tobias gets it. Yep, that's what it is. Oh, because that season definitely came out before Fan Four Stick, so what fucking irony.
It did.
God, we'll have to talk about Josh Trank once we make it to Fan Four Stick.
Yeah. Roger Corman produced this. It's one of the many Roger Corman productions we've covered on this show. I say many. He did Battle Beyond the Stars. I think that's it. But yeah, this is from the same company that made Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yeah. Like I said, there's some charm. There's some undeniable charm here.
Absolutely. And I kind of see why it would be someone's favorite Fantastic Four movie.
I could see why it would be someone's favorite Marvel movie. Now, this is coming from someone... This person would hate Marvel, but this would be like the exception for them. Because this is very different from other Marvel movies.
Would you like to introduce Fantastic Four 2005?
Yes, I certainly would. Fantastic Four, not the Fantastic Four, as Matt already established. Directed by Tim Story, what a name. Directed by Tim Story, released July 8th, 2005. You can almost copy and paste the story from the 1994 version, but just like change little details, like instead, like, Doom actually gets the powers the same time everyone else does. They all go into space, expedition together, and something goes horribly wrong, and then after being quarantined for a bit as tests are being run on them, they start to slowly each discover their powers one by one. This movie does take more of the aftermath into effect. Like there is like a big part of the movie is kind of showing them becoming famous for this and them almost being celebrities and whatnot. And we also have the side where it's like Doctor Doom's like company completely shuts down. He goes completely bankrupt because of this incident. So we get a little bit more. There's a little bit more build up to him being Doom in this, but I actually think maybe too much. Like you don't actually get to see it. You don't get to see him in the outfit until like the third act, and even then not that much in the third act. And I don't, to this day, I do not understand why so many of these fucking adaptations do this, where it's like we're not going to show you like this main part of this character until the very end. Even like
Surf Dracula,
even the fucking Sonic movie did that with the shoes. Like Sonic doesn't get his shoes until the very end of the movie. It's like, why? Just have him wear them at the start. We don't need an origin story on how he got the fucking shoes. There's so many weird examples of this happening where it's just like, why not just like let the character look like the character early on? But and then eventually Doctor Doom gets the power he needs from the Thing, because a big focus of this movie actually is on the Thing and how he's not adapting to this as well, because the other three have control of when their powers are in use or not. Even though they're learning them and they're a little clumsy, they have an on and off switch where the Thing has to be like this permanently. Loses his wife. I'm going to say in this case, good fucking riddance, how quickly she turned on him. I do like the emotional side of the story with the Thing. I think they actually handled that relatively well, so that the Thing does kind of feel like the heart of this movie. Feels like the most relevant part of it story-wise. Matt, what did you think of Fantastic Four?
I think this is kind of the bare minimum of what you expect out of a superhero movie, but I have seen so many movies that don't even deliver this.
Yeah.
Like, this is... It spends a lot of time on, like... shtick. It spends a lot of like there's a whole like montage of them like adapting to their powers, and it's kind of wacky, kind of goofy. Mr. Fantastic, he's stretching his arm across the hall to grab some toilet paper, but I don't know, like it's got a level of charm that a lot of superheroes do not. A lot of superhero movies do not. It's fun. It's a fun movie. Mm-hmm. It's a pleasant way to spend an hour 45, Could it be better? Sure, abso-fucking-lutely. I could name many better superhero movies than this, but it's fine.
I think that there is, like, I agree, there's a certain level of fun to have with it, and I gotta say, Chris Evans and Michael, how do you say that last name? Chiklis?
Michael Chiklis, yeah.
Chiklis. I think they both deliver, like, a really... I like how much of a bastard they're willing to let Chris Evans be, and Michael really just delivers like this really emotional performance in this film. I think it's actually very effective. I think that the bond he has with Mr. Fantastic is kind of believable too. Actually, even though I don't really like where that goes, I think at the start it's like kind of there. Even though I just kind of offered Mr. Fantastic a compliment, I'm going to say I think him and good old Jessica Alba, they're the weak links of this movie. I did not enjoy them very much. They have their chemistry is not there, even though the movie so clearly wants to insist that it is. It is the same conversation with those two every single time. It is very clear why Jessica Alba is in this movie. I don't really respect their approach there. And I think both of them like really bring it down, where I think Chris Evans and I think you could keep the Human Torch and the Thing as they are in this movie. It's not to say that nothing is bad with them, because I think that like the Human Torch, there's like some scenes that are a little like try hard, trying to be a little too hard to be cool and a little obnoxious, but
oh yeah,
it is kind of funny seeing those two go off of each other a bit, like kind of seeing like a weird friendship form at the end of it, but also like he's just being a dick over and over, and I like that he's being a dick, but he's getting an appropriate reaction for being a dick.
Yeah. This movie is so, like, radically 2000s. It is such extreme 2000s vibes from this movie.
They literally recreate a shot from Malcolm in the Middle's intro.
Yeah, they have the guy on fire. Although, isn't the guy in Malcolm in the Middle skiing, not snowboarding?
I think, he wasn't skiing in this, he was snowboarding.
But, like, that scene was like, oh yeah, this is, like, extreme 2000s. And then he goes to the X Games.
the fucking X Games. How many times does that appear? Like, that could be a ranking. X Games appearance. It's this an extremely goofy movie,
movies where the X Games is like a major part of the plot.
It wasn't a major part of the plot, but it got a scene. It got a scene. It got a whole scene.
It got a scene. It was much bigger part of an extremely goofy movie. You're right.
It was kind of funny watching this. Yeah, it was like the main plot of the extremely goofy movie. It was really funny watching this though. Because we kept commenting on like so much product placement in this movie, but it's
There's so much product placement in this movie.
Outdated product placement. There's like products in this movie being promoted that don't exist anymore.
R.I.P. Sobe. I remember I had Sobe once at Boy Scout camp, and it was pretty good, and that's the only time I've ever had it because it like died not long after that. Also, you get to see the Family Guy logo. Family Guy exists in the Fantastic Four universe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that this, like, as a whole, I had fun watching it. Like, I really didn't mind watching this. I almost feel like I could watch it again. I think if I would have watched it as a kid, I would have really enjoyed it. I think it really just kind of comes down to, does it work as a whole? I don't think so. Because I don't think Sue Storm or Mr. Fantastic are very good characters. I think Mr. Fantastic is better than Sue Storm. I think he is better than Sue Storm.
I agree with you that their like relationship is not well done. I do kind of like this Mr. Fantastic.
I think he has the right attitude and personality. It's just so much of the time is sunk into that.
Absolutely.
I think he looks the part, and I think he is able to act the part. He has, like, this awkwardness to him. He also has this obsessive side to him where, like, you know, yeah, he is oblivious to some things. He's a genius who's oblivious to social cues.
Right.
And I think that's kind of a good way to do Mr. Fantastic. He doesn't have to be this cool guy, because, you know, we already have the Human Torch delivering all of the uber awesome.
He's so cool in this movie.
Chris Evans is funny. I forget how funny he can be. He was really funny in Scott Pilgrim versus the World too. Like he was the only like really funny part of Deadpool and Wolverine. Which I mean, I got a couple laughs out of the movie. The only part that made me laugh hard was Chris Evans.
I think the only laughs I got out of that movie are one when Elektra shows up. Just because I have maintained for a long time that Elektra is the worst Marvel movie. And I laughed when they had the "there's only been one Blade and there's only gonna be one Blade" joke, because, like, Marvel has absolutely fumbled the ball at making a Blade movie. They've tried so hard to make a Blade movie and it hasn't happened. Those were the only laughs I got out of that film.
Oh, I got such a huge laugh back. Like, okay, spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
When Chris Evans showed up, I kind of saw it coming that he was going to be the Human Torch and not Captain America.
I didn't at all, and to be fair, it might be partially because I didn't watch the movie as a kid. I knew he was the Human Torch. I just didn't really watch it, but I thought it was going to be Captain America, not just because it's Chris Evans, but because throughout the movie, several times Deadpool, like, promoted him, like, he made it very clear that he was a Captain America fan. It felt like they were setting up a Captain America cameo, because they reference it multiple times. And then when I saw Chris Evans showed up, I actually rolled my eyes. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're really going hard at the fucking Disney worship. This is not the same fucking franchise as the first two movies. And I still feel that way.
I do too.
But then when he said "Flame On," that actually made me laugh really hard.
Like, honestly, it makes the least sense for him to be there, because, like, the 94 Fantastic Four should be there. because their movie never came out.
That would have been
And
even
Josh
funnier.
Trank's Fantastic Four should be there because, like, the original Josh Trank cut got meddled with.
They should have just had all 3 of the Human Torches there.
Yeah. The other Human Torch, the Fantastic Human Torch, is also in the MCU, so...
Who does he play in the MCU again?
He was Killmonger in Black Panther.
Oh, shit. That's like one of my favorite villains from the Marvel universe.
I agree. He was the best part of that movie. I thought Killmonger was the best part of Black Panther.
Black Panther was almost great. I think the CG at the end sucks, but other than that, I liked it. The CG, it's really bad. Oh my god, the fights at the end are bad.
Yeah, it has its problems, but honestly, Killmonger, the villain, I think was like the highlight of the film.
I'd put him in the top 5 MCU villains for sure.
Absolutely. I like T'Challa too. I like the characters in that movie.
Yeah, they're good. It's unfortunate what happened.
Yeah, going back to the 2005 Fantastic Four film.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long episode.
We've kind of already gotten into who's in this. Granted, we only really have to do that one time with this cast.
Yeah, I mean we can talk about like the Silver Surfer and the sequel and all that, but Chris Evans great, Jessica Alba.
We should note Chris Evans has elevated himself to the status of like someone who has appeared in more than 2 Hollow Victories movies.
Right.
He was in both of these films, and he was Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Which both of us apparently forgot. Like, I'm like, why do I feel like Chris Evans was in something we saw? And then I, like, looked and I'm like, oh yeah, he was fucking Buzz Lightyear.
I don't want to be a jerk, but has Jessica Alba, like, been in anything good other than Sin City?
I was about to say Sin City. I have not seen her in much else.
And she's good in Sin City. She's good in Sin City, but, like...
I mean, Sin City is just, like, a well-written movie.
Yeah, but, you
like,
know, she had a pretty big character, and she did it well in that.
Sure. I'm with you. I think she was good in that movie.
But it kind of I almost don't want to hold it against her because it feels like she's being casted for a very specific reason with a lot of these movies. Both of these movies get her naked.
Yeah, they find ways to get her naked in both of these movies.
It's like especially forced in Fantastic, like Silver Surfer, because it's like because she switches powers with the Human Torch and her outfit burns off. And it's like, well, why is the Human Torch's outfit the only one that's fire resistant? I understand it's because he doesn't want to be naked every time he uses his powers, and he doesn't want to destroy his suit every time he uses his powers. But why wouldn't you all just also have the fire resistance? Like that means if someone tries to light you on fire, they're not going to be able to.
Yeah.
So why is that only in his...
Like, get Jessica Alba naked.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
To have a scene where she's naked. Obvious. Come on. Keep up, Michael.
It's so stupid. I don't have any respect for it.
It's forced.
I don't know. Jessica Alba, Sin City is the only thing I've seen her do good in. I do not like her in this movie at all. I'm hesitant to blame it on her because she's just going off of the horrible fucking script, the horrible way they write her in these, but I think she's the worst one. I think she is the worst one in these.
Yeah.
Michael Chiklis is great. God, the fucking Thing made me so sad in this movie. Like, the scene where, the Thing has horrible fucking judgment. He trusts Dr. Doom really quickly over his friend his lifelong friend. And the person he was married to was instantly against his own existence the second he was a rock guy. So, poor judgment, this fucking guy. But the scene where he's trying to pick up the fucking wedding ring and can't, that's fucking depressing. That's really, that was like a really effectively sad scene.
No, I think you said it. The Thing is the heart of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really carries the emotions of this movie, and I think he's a big part of why I don't hate this movie that much.
Yeah,
because he brings a lot of heart to the movie,
and I love. And I think he makes the Human Torch a better character because the Human Torch is this huge dickhead in the movie, but I think having this character that is constantly threatening to beat his ass and even tries to in a few scenes, really kind of elevates things a little better, you know? Like, it's like we don't just have this douchey character who's getting away with saying douchey things constantly. There's consequences for his actions. He's pissing off this guy who's a lot stronger than him.
I like the scene where he crumples up Johnny's car.
Yeah.
This is also Michael Chiklis's second and third appearance, because he was one of the priests in Hubie Halloween.
Jeez. But yeah, I think he is really good in this. How do you say this guy? Is it Ian?
Ian Gruffud?
What a name.
Griffith?
I think he could work. I don't like the way he's written, but I agree that the personality is there.
Yeah, I think if Sue was better and if the romance between them was better,
Yeah.
this could be a really good Mr. Fantastic. Because I think in every other aspect he works fine.
I don't even know why they had to be former lovers who are getting back together. I think it would have been better as, like, she is... Okay, you want to do the whole thing where she's leaving Doctor Doom for him at the end? Like, have her in a relationship with Doctor Doom, but, like, that's not a very good relationship, and she actually learns she has real chemistry with this guy. And if we see that chemistry as an audience, we will want to see more of it. We will want to see them end up together. But they just fucking argue in both of these movies. Like, they're not fun. It's not a good couple. I understand that real relationships are gonna, like, it's not all peaches. You're gonna get into an argument, sure, but, like, that's all they do. That's all they do. It's the same fucking conversation every single time. I really don't like, I really don't like these two together.
Yeah.
Doctor Doom was whatever. I like the 94 one better. This might be a hot take. Up into the point, like, just before he becomes Doctor Doom, I like the Fan Four Stick one more too. When the Fan Four Stick one actually becomes Doctor Doom, that was pretty fucking bad. But up to the build up of just like the chemistry between the two, I think the Fan Four Stick one is better than this guy. I think it's like, I can't believe, there's no version of me that can believe that there was a point where these two were friends.
Yeah. Honestly, I was gonna say I didn't really like the Fantastic Doom until he becomes Doom, frankly, but...
You liked him when he became Doom?
I mean, I like the scenes of him as Doom.
I don't know. It was kind of quick.
It
was kind of brief.
We'll get to him when we get to him. This Doom, I mean, he's, like, serviceable, but I like... He's fine as Doom. I don't like him that much as Victor, you know? He's not a very good Victor.
Yeah, I think he was okay as Doom. He's kind of inoffensive to me. He didn't leave much of an impression, but I don't think he's...
Yeah.
I don't think he sucks, but he's also just... I don't think there's a lot to him.
I do think... I think the climax of this movie is a little limp. I feel like... Because they just kind of, they superheat him and then they super cool him and his, like, metal suit freezes. It can't move anymore. It just hardens and he's, like, trapped inside the metal suit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't that great. It wasn't that much. It didn't do that much for me.
That climax wasn't very good in general. It wasn't, like, the worst, but, like, I think that the bridge scene where they act as a team for the first time had a stronger impact than the climax did, which normally shouldn't be the case.
I mean, that feels like the scene where they're really being superheroes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
On the bridge. Like, the end, it's kind of limp. It's kind of...
The fucking climax uses the Windhelm screen twice.
Just not really that into the climax of this movie. The bridge scene feels like them really being superheroes, and then it kind of feels like they fuck around for a lot of the movie, and then that infight with Doom is, like, not that great, and it's like... That's what really, like, brings this movie down for me. That's why I can't be like, oh, this is, like, a good one, actually, because there is stuff I like about this film, but... Ultimately, I don't think they utilize the Fantastic Four that well.
There's something I want to say about this movie, but I don't want to give away the ending of this episode, so I'm going to hold off on it until the end of the episode. But I did find genuine entertainment in this movie, but there's things that it does horribly. But, you know, I'll say this much. I think the 1994 movie has a little bit more integrity than this movie.
Well, it's not full of, like, fucking product placement, for one thing.
It's not full of product placement. It's not as obnoxious. Sue Storm is better written in that one somehow. And yeah, it doesn't hit the lows that this movie hits, but I do think this is a more entertaining movie to watch. Like I could watch this movie again. I don't ever want to watch 94 again. I will watch the documentary about it that was released because that I'm kind of curious about now. But boy oh boy did I not like watching that. I was really bored. I mean, I was really bored with the 94 movie. I couldn't wait for it to be over. Where 2005, I was like, if that went on another 30 minutes, I could have handled that, you know? Like when it ended, I was okay. I was more than okay with it being over. But I was also like, yeah, I kind of enjoyed my time here, even though the flaws are easy to pinpoint. But one movie entertained me and one movie did not. And like, sometimes that's more important. Sometimes I do think that's more important. Which one actually gave you, like, a bit of escapism? What one actually gave you a bit of fun before you get back to your life?
Yeah, and I mean, this one is, like, way better paced than the 94 movie.
Oh, yeah, they get their powers early on. There's actually a really funny fake-out joke at the beginning that I really like. It's actually one of the most creatively set up shots, too, because it's, like, a first-person perspective. Chris Evans does such a good job delivering, like, the genuine concern. Like, man, we brought in the best people. I'm telling you, we brought in the best people. I'm so sorry, man. And then when he looks at his face, like, I fell for it just because it's, like, I know he's going to become the thing.
Yeah, no, it works because like, eventually he's gonna be the thing, so you kind of are like, oh god, here's the reveal that he's the thing, and then he's just Michael Chiklis.
And it was really funny on top of it. It really hammered down because I feel like Chris Evans' character, we kind of get a good grasp on him early on because he has that douchey attitude. But like, I think in that moment, it's just like, oh, he is this kind of asshole. He's this big of a piece of shit. And that did make me laugh. Like I said, sometimes dickhead characters like that, like I think there's a very dangerous line you walk when you write a character like that, because you risk making someone who's just so despicable, so unlikable, that the audience can't laugh with them. They just get angry at them. I think Chris Evans is, like, very close to stepping over that line, but I'm okay with him in this movie. I think that there are I think there's ways you could perfect it by cutting some scenes out or having him dial it back occasionally. But as a whole, he was entertaining to me too. I think Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis are I think they're both selling points for this movie. I like them both a lot.
I agree.
So yeah, I mean, I almost like this. I almost like this one. It's not quite there. There's things holding it back, but I almost like Fantastic Four.
I feel like if they could have hammered down Sue and Reed's relationship a little better, and if they had had better action, this would be like one of the good ones.
Yeah, I agree. Should we move on to Silver Surfer?
Yeah, tell us about Silver Surfer, Michael.
So, Silver Surfer, released 2 years later, directed by Tim Story once again, but he has a story to tell. Just continues the story, continues the lives of these superheroes as they're continuing to be these big public figures. In fact, there's a big wedding coming up that TMZ, you better believe they're reporting on it, where Sue Storm is about to get married to Mr. Fantastic, but he keeps getting distracted by work. And obviously, the fate of humanity is not as important as their wedding, so she's justifiably angry at him for choosing to focus on that. To be fair, I've heard people say that for like years, how bad that is, and it actually she kind of turns over on that quickly. I actually don't think it's as bad as people set it up to be. But there is a little bit of that there. There is a little bit of she's more concerned about her wedding than the well-being of the planet. It's just, it doesn't last the whole movie like some people claim it does. But the Silver Surfer is here, and he's kind of a villain, but he's also kind of an anti-hero. Like, not really, he's doing stuff, but it's not by his own accord, apparently. And we also have the reintroduction of Doctor Doom, who didn't die at the end of the movie. He got locked up, but he escapes in this one, and he tries to team up with the Silver Surfer, but the Silver Surfer isn't actually trying to harm the world, so it just becomes a movie about them trying to stop this guy, but also learn what his actual motives are. I think this movie's a bit more aimless than the first one, because it's kind of hard to describe the story in some regards. But that's basically it. Just a new threat that they kind of learn slowly throughout the movie is not actually the new, like, the real threat they think it is. And yeah, just more of, like, the lives of these superheroes and where they are now. Not a very good script, this film. Like I said, aimless is the word I would use to describe it. It feels like they have a bunch of ideas and they don't know how to connect the pieces together. Matt, what did you think of Rise of the Silver Surfer?
I was kind of because I liked so much about the first Fantastic Four movie, I was kind of holding out hope that this could, like, improve on some of the issues I had, and there are a few things I think it does do better, but on the whole, it's just not anywhere near as interesting as the first one. It's a whole lot of fighting between the Fantastic Four. They feel like they are at each other's throats way more in this one. Yeah, the story goes, like, weird places. There's, like, some weirdly forgettable elements. They introduce Galactus, and then, they did Galactus so fucking dirty in this movie.
You literally had to send me pictures for me to even recognize who the character was.
Yeah, I got a lot of problems with this movie. I did not enjoy this one nearly as much as its predecessor, frankly.
No, I didn't either. I did not either.
Tell me your thoughts.
I was mainly shit-talking it the whole time. I think that the Silver Surfer costume for when he's not a CG model looks kind of decent. Thought there was an action scene or two that was maybe a little fun to watch, because that was something that, like you said, was lacking in the first one. The Ferris wheel scene looks kind of okay in certain scenes, but I think the context of the scene is kind of stupid. I don't know. I think this is a bad movie. I think that I think this is kind of a shit show, but there's a little bit of entertainment to be had from it. It's not completely void of that, but I really don't think Mr. Fantastic or Sue Storm are any better in this. If anything, they're worse. I think there's even less to their personalities in this movie. And then the Thing and the Human Torch, it's hard to remember shit they did in this one. There's a little bit of that chemistry there. There's a little bit of that banter still that's fun to listen to. But the Thing and, the Thing is kind of stagnant in this movie. Nothing really new happens with his character. And then the Human Torch, there's a little bit of this arc about him being worried about the team not being together anymore, and a little bit of him, like, being concerned or insecure about, like, his own, like, what he contributes to the team, and even his own team members are talking him down because of his, like, shitty attitude with a lot of things. But I don't know, it's not that interesting, it's not that fun, and I don't think any of it goes far enough to be interesting or fun. It feels like I said, there's a lot of ideas being thrown around in this movie, but I don't think any of them get focused on that much. It feels aimless.
Yeah, I'm with you. It goes such weird places too. Like, I feel like there's stuff it's doing in the front half that it just kind of drops in the back half. Like Sue and Reed's wedding constantly getting delayed is a thing that just, like, doesn't get a lot of attention for a lot of the movie, even though it's, like, really important at the beginning. Even the stuff with the Silver Surfer, like, it's kind of, there's like this mystery of, like, ooh, who is this mysterious Silver Surfer? What does he want? What's he doing? And then, like, they spend so little time on him in the front half, and then in the back half he's this, like, really big character who, like, honestly kind of helps them save the day.
Yeah.
I gotta fucking rant about Galactus in this movie. First off, they made him a fucking cloud. He's a giant fucking space cloud. This is not the only movie that has done this. The Green Lantern movie did this to Parallax, another villain who's, like, a huge thing in the comics that they're just like, nah, he's a cloud now.
It feels like a form that the character could take on for, like, a scene, but it's just what they're going to be like the entire movie.
Yeah, because the people who made these movies have no fucking creativity, and it's easier to just make a cloud.
Go into After Effects, do some fractal noise. There you go.
No, I like a friend of mine and I wrote a comic in high school, and like we did like a parody of this. There was a time where they fought a character called Paralacticus, who was a parody of like Parallax and Galactus from these two movies, where they're just like, nah, fuck it, he's a cloud. So the character is just fighting a cloud.
There's a lot of good jokes you could do with that.
Shrek shoots him with his gun that kills clouds.
Rick and Morty, Rick turns himself into a cloud. He's Cloud Rick.
But like, the Fantastic Four don't even deal with Galactus. They just like convince the Silver Surfer that Earth is worth saving, and then they're like,
I really didn't like that aspect of it because I've seen
he flies into Galactus and like stops Galactus somehow.
There's so many tropes this movie is doing that I've seen done well before, where it's like someone who's acting, both the villain who's acting as if they don't have a choice. It's not they want to hurt anyone, it's that they don't have a choice. And it's the villain that's like, your time has come and this is just the way things have to be done. I've seen that done, and like Gurren Lagann has a villain that's like that. It has more than one villain that's like that, actually, where it's just like, your world is coming to an end and I'm not in the wrong for ending it because it's its time. It needs to. This is something that has to happen. It's not that I want it to happen. This has to happen. And Gurren Lagann does a really good job of explaining it. It does a really good job of having the character, like, getting into the character's mindset. You know it's wrong because it's like, of course you don't want the fucking world to end, but they do a good job of explaining the rationality of this antagonist, you know? And this movie really, it's like it needed to start that a little earlier. And then once it got it started, it needed to focus on that more. Because this movie takes forever to get to that point. And once they get to that point, we're not really focusing on it that much. Like, there are scenes where, there's a scene where Sue Storm goes into the room and talks to him. But, like...
Yeah, and I think he's, like, an interesting character. I think the Silver Surfer is interesting in this movie. And I wish they had done more with him.
Mm-hmm. I think it could have been better. I think it certainly could have been better. I just don't respect this one. It doesn't pick a lane to drive, and it's trying way too much at once. And there's nothing really. I just don't think it's like an interesting movie to talk about, really, because they did like. I feel like I'm like a fucking record player right now. But I just think this is a boring movie. I think it's uninteresting. I think I got a little bit more entertainment out of it than the 94 film, but I like the 94 film more than this. The 94 film is at least not an aimless mess like this is.
I might have liked the 94 film better. It's hard to say, because that one does drag for a lot of the runtime. And I don't know if this one ever really drags. It's just kind of a not very good movie, you know?
It just feels like a bunch of fucking nonsense.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It feels like they needed to commit a little better to what they were gonna do with this one. Honestly, like, I saw this movie in, like, high school, and my memory is I borrowed, like, a library DVD, and it started skipping out near the end. But, like, I still watched, like, most of it, and I fucking forgot Doom showed up in this movie at all, even though he is arguably the main villain in this one as well.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's the one the Fantastic Four actually fight. And by the Fantastic Four, I of course mean Chris Evans with all of the Fantastic Four's powers.
Yeah. I will say, like, when
It was a better fight than in the first movie, but it's also, like, kind of lame that it's just Chris Evans.
you know it's kind of funny. I like how, because when you told me that when we were first watching it, like I think this was like yesterday when we were watching this, you told me you didn't even remember that Doctor Doom was in this movie. And as Doctor Doom was being reintroduced, I was in my head, I was just like, how do you not remember that, Matt? Like, he's clearly being set up as a major villain here. By the end of the movie, it was like, oh, I get how Matt forgot this guy was in the movie. He didn't do shit. He was so uninvolved in this. The movie, it's another example of like implied significance. There's so much implied significance in honestly both of these movies, but it's way worse in this one. I did not enjoy this one at all. Like there's like an occasionally a line or an interaction that I like. I kind of enjoyed the Thing and the Human Torch switching powers briefly for a minute and getting to see the Thing version of Chris Evans' character, and then see briefly the Thing's actor got to be out of the costume for a second, which was kind of funny. And I kind of like their banter back. Again, like these are two characters that are fun to see work off each other. There's also a scene where they're at a bar where they actually have a sincere conversation.
That was like the best scene of the movie.
Yeah, it's so far and few between.
Yeah.
And I like, it's not good enough. I also want to point out someone who we didn't actually talk about in the cast-in for the first movie is Kerry Washington as the Thing's blind girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she's fine.
He also has a blind girlfriend in the 94 movie. I believe that's something carried over from the comics.
My understanding is from the comics, yeah. Because I listened, I heard you say that, and I actually listened to the Sardonic cast on it today where they were talking about that too. So I do believe that's something from the comics specifically. I gotta say, like, Kerry Washington, I think she does a fine job playing the character. I don't have anything against this blind character. I know what the implication is, though, when you do that. If that's the one that carries out, it's like only a blind person could be into this guy. I'm gonna say, if the Thing set up a dating profile, he'd get results pretty quickly. He's a big buff rock guy. I know not everybody's gonna be into that, but some people are gonna be really into that.
Absolutely. I don't know. I think it's like this is a trope as old as time, of like the guy who gets deformed and then he gets a blind girlfriend. The Toxic Avenger does that.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I mean, I guess the thing that's funny about it is it always feels like the intention is it's supposed to be sweet, and I think by today's standards, it's just not that. It's kind of an insult. Like, only a blind person could love you. Oh, it reminds me of that's a face only a mother could love.
Yeah.
At the very least, I think the relationship is likable enough in both movies, so it's not like... I think this one's better than the 94 one, and then Fan 4 Stick doesn't have that.
I mean, the weird thing in the 94 movie is they have, like, one scene together, and then she finds out he's supposedly dead, and she's like, no, not him. That guy I met exactly one time.
The scene of them meeting for the first time is also, like, extremely awkward. Should we move on to Fan 4 Stick?
I think it's time to talk about Fan 4 Stick.
Stan Lee was in both of the Fantastic Four movies. That's worth mentioning.
Yeah, he's in both of these, and not Fan 4 Stick, so, shows where his loyalties are. Shows how much he cared about these movies. Fantastic Four, more commonly referred to by its real name, Fant Four Stick. I appreciate that we as a society have just agreed that the movie is called Fant Four Stick.
It's such a stretch. A 4 and an A are not that similar.
Just like Mr. Fantastic. I don't know, Scream 4 did that. Like, Scream 3, I think they replaced the E with a 3, and then in Scream 4, they replaced the A with a 4, and I thought that was pretty clever. And then they came back years later and didn't call the fifth, well, they didn't make the S a 5 in Scream 5. And I'm like, what's even the point then? That's how you know those movies fell off. I haven't seen past the second one, but that's how you know those movies fell off. Anyways,
Spiny Rambles, including the number 4 in the movie title, Shrek Forever After.
Anyways, Fant Four Stick, released in 2015. This is like the 90s one should have come out in 95, because otherwise they have always come out 10 years apart. Because it was 2005, and then it was 2015, and then the new one's coming out in 2025. So every 10 years we get a new Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's so funny. If it was just 1 year later for 1994, it would have, like, really carried that tradition.
It would. I don't know, I was kind of thinking during Rise of the Silver Surfer, like, if this movie had come out 1 year later, they would have, like, put it in the MCU the same way they did with, like, Hulk.
Probably. It's actually kind of funny how these Fantastic Four movies represent different periods of time. 94 is like the Blade era, like you were talking about before.
I mean, pre-Blade even.
Yeah, it's really close to that era, though. 2005 is like kind of like the Sam Raimi era, and then 2015 it's like post Dark Knight and Avengers. Like the MCU is getting the ball rolling, and now we have one that's post Endgame coming out with the MCU not in the best shoes.
Kind of interesting. Anyways, Fantastic Four. Fantastic, if you will.
I'm gonna call it Fantastic for the rest of my life.
In this movie, Reed Richards and his best friend Ben Grimm invent this little machine that can teleport stuff and even bring it back. They don't know where it's transporting to. They think it's like a desert. But then they're approached by Sue Storm and her father, who work for, like, this big scientific institute, and they've, like, been studying this thing, and they're like, we've been able to transport stuff but never get it back. And you guys have cracked the code, and we'd like you to be on our big science team to build this machine that takes you to a different dimension. Like, that's the big thing, is they've discovered this is going to a different dimension. So they bring on the original guy who had, like, designed their plans, Victor Von Doom, and they also bring on Mr. Storm's son, Johnny, because he has been causing trouble, street racing and shit. And one night, they've finished building this thing, and then like the investors are like, oh, we're gonna give it to NASA, so NASA can send their people to this alternate dimension. And they're sitting around getting drunk, and they're like, nah, fuck NASA, we should be the ones who go to the alternate dimension. So they go to this alternate dimension, and they're blasted with this crazy radiation. And they have to leave Victor behind because he, like, gets caught up in it. But they all come home, and all of a sudden they have these weird powers. Weird things are happening to their body. It is the Fantastic Four, Reed can stretch, Johnny can turn on fire, Ben is the Thing, and Sue is the Invisible Woman. And they get taken to this military base where they're being studied. Reed, incidentally, breaks out rather easy. And then there's a 1-year time jump. And, like, at that point, the Thing is working for the U.S. military. Sue and Johnny are in training, and they also want to, like, get into Johnny, at least, wants to get into combat. And meanwhile, the government is trying to find Reed Richards. And they do finally, like, track him down and bring him in. And they're like, okay, we're sending someone back over to the other side. Could you help us with this? And so they go back to that dimension, and they find Victor still there, absolutely corrupted by this, like, weird energy source he has fallen into, but also, like, super powerful now. And they bring him back to the real world, and he's like, no, I fucking hate this real world and all the bullshit you guys are pulling. I want to go back to my world. And then once he's back in his world, he's like, you know what, I want to make a laser that's gonna destroy their world too. Like, why not? And so they have to destroy this laser he's built and defeat him. And then they get their own place to hang out, and they're like, we should come up with a name for the team. And Ben is like, well, I know this much, it was fantastic. Michael, what'd you think of Fantastic?
Wait, say that again.
I said, what did you think of Fantastic?
I thought it was a piece of shit. I'm a little bummed out because I actually thought that this movie had one of the more interesting setups. I liked the start of Ben and Richard's friendship. I thought Sue Storm seemed like a better written version of the character in this one. I kind of like how Victor Von Doom was someone who he was like kind of blunt and a little bit dickish with them, but they were able to like have a conversation with him. They were able to work with him, you know? I felt this movie was like doing a really decent job setting everything up, but it's like the entire movie is just that setup followed by one, like a confusing year-long time skip, and then the first fight is the climax. Like it's bizarre. It's a very bizarrely paced film, and I get why so many people hate it, because it just feels like it's incomplete. It feels like them going out and having that first fight as a team should be like, if not at the end of the first act, like halfway through the film. And it's the ending. I think this movie had a lot of really solid ideas. I was into where it was going. I genuinely at first was like, maybe this won't be so bad. And then it's just like the movie doesn't start. The movie takes forever to get started, and when it finally does, it's already over. So yeah, I think this movie has good ideas, but I don't think it fails in the execution. And honest to God, I'm going to point my finger a little bit at Josh Trank. There is some information that has come about his approach to this movie, and I'd be willing to maybe say that's people trying to push the blame onto him if it wasn't for the fact that he openly shit talked to the movie a day before release. He was making posts talking about how horrible it's going to be, saying, you guys could have gotten the good Fantastic Four, but nope, you're not getting. He completely shot himself in the foot. He has made one movie since this one.
Yeah.
He had a promising career. He had a really promising career, and he completely self-sabotaged.
People liked Chronicle. I thought it was decent. I didn't love it or anything, but it was good. He could have done more stuff after Chronicle.
His demands for what he wanted. I understand hating the fucking Hollywood system, hating that signing on to a project where you don't get creative control. Don't sign up for a Marvel movie post Avengers then. Are you out of your fucking mind? What did you think was gonna happen?
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where, just to find, a light comparison, there's Edgar Wright's Ant-Man movie, and I can tell watching Ant-Man which parts are, Edgar Wright's ideas, and I can see, the vision for Edgar Wright's Ant-Man, and it would have been so much better than the Ant-Man we got.
Yeah.
But, in this movie's case, you can tell what Josh Trank shot and what Josh Trank did not shot, because Kate Mara is wearing a really obvious wig in all of the reshoots. And my impression is that, his film would have been more cohesive. It would have flowed a little better. It would have been more tonally consistent. But it would have been, an extremely dark movie. And I think it probably would have been even more of a slog than this.
It might have been.
There's a part of me that wants to say his version... I do believe his version would have been a better movie. I think it's almost more entertaining as, the mess it turned out as.
Yeah. I think that, when you look at his list of demands, what he wanted, it's, it really goes beyond the realm of reasonable, being reasonable. Because one of the things I read that he wanted was he wanted it to be connected to his own Chronicle universe, where it's alright, yeah, you know what? I want to direct a Spider-Man movie, and I want Spider-Man to be connected to the Spideyverse. And I think that's a reasonable thing to ask. fuck off. Come on. I not to give these big studios a lot of credit, because I do think they often screw people over, or they often, I do think I still haven't watched Ant-Man to this day because of my anger towards the Edgar Wright thing, because that would have been a great movie if Edgar Wright got to do it the way he wanted to do it. But
absolutely.
But there's a huge difference between how Edgar Wright handled that and how Josh Trank handled that. Edgar Wright respectfully stepped down, realizing it wasn't going to be what he wanted it to be. He allowed his name to be on the movie still. I mean, I don't know if he had a choice there, but he didn't protest it. And he did not go on social media and start shit-talking the film. He also didn't have the crew make posts about how horrible he was, because, yeah, Miles Teller, what's her name? Why can't I think of it right now?
Kate Mara?
Yes, yeah. Kate Mara. They made posts about him after the movie was released, because he was showing up to set drunk. He was acting like a piece of shit, he ruined his reputation for this movie, and it's why did you sign up for this, man? People didn't want, like, nobody wanted this for you. Nobody wanted this to be where your story as a filmmaker ended. But you really, like, either embrace that one for them, one for you mindset, like Taika Waititi did, or don't get involved in this, you know? I mean, I've seen filmmakers who stay true to their, like, they don't really like, I've seen filmmakers who don't like the one for them, one for you mindset, and they purely make stuff they want to make, and it hurts them financially, but they do it anyway. And you know what? I mean, I respect that, but God, there's nothing to respect about how you went about this.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I get it. Like, when you have the film ripped from you and the studio, like, completely re-edits it in their own image, and it's this fucking mess of a film.
Yeah.
I get why you'd be upset about that. But I also think Josh Trank was like, he did not handle that well. I think he could have gotten a lot of sympathy out of this because, like, yeah, they did take his movie and turn it into, like, a piece of shit.
It's a situation most people are going to feel a level of sympathy. Most people, like, every single story that comes out like this is like, oh, this could have been really great if they just let the artist do what the artist wanted to do. Josh Trank is like the exception to that rule. He made himself the exception to that rule.
Yeah, and I mean, even ignoring his behavior, I don't think his cut of the film would have been, like, a good movie necessarily.
Well, he wanted to make, like, a body horror with the Fantastic Four, which would have been better for a parody of the Fantastic Four, similar to what Venture Bros did, you know?
You said that to me yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, on the one hand, I get doing body horror with the Fantastic Four, but at the same time, yeah, it does make more sense in, like, a parody context, like what Venture Bros did.
Yeah, and Venture Bros was really funny with what they did. Great, shout out to Venture Bros. They did a very funny Fantastic Four parody. I think it was established in the first fucking season.
It was.
Like, that was like a really early episode of Venture Bros.
I'm also pretty sure Baron von Unterbite is a Doom parody, a Doctor Doom parody, because he, like, rules his own nation, even. He was a major villain early on, and then he just, like, disappears.
Yeah, I think it's because he was a weaker part of it. The Fantastic Four parody was good. He was okay. Even the creators of the show said they stopped using him. Like, I think their explanation was, we kept trying to make him work, and we never felt that he did.
Honestly, I like, when he finally did show up in the series, I was like, man, I almost think it would have been funnier if, like, you know, the boys insisted he was Dr. Venture's, like, biggest rival, and he's in the intro and everything, and he just never shows up or does anything.
God, do we want to talk about casting? Because I could talk about this cast.
I mean, yeah, but there's so much to talk about with this film. I want to give the film a little bit of credit. I want to give Josh Trank a little bit of credit. Because the first time I watched this movie, the scene where, like, they've brought Dr. Doom back to Earth, and he's in this military facility, and then he just, like, gets up and, like, is walking out and just, like, killing people randomly throughout the hall. I thought that was a really cool scene. I was like, damn, this is a really cool scene in an otherwise fucking terrible movie. Mm-hmm. On a rewatch, I do think it was, like, a little short. It's over a little fast, but, like, I still kind of stand by it's, like, probably the best part of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's a good part. I mean, I think that, honest to God, I really appreciate the setups. I think that Teller and Mara when they're first meeting each other, have better chemistry than the previous Mr. Fantastics and Sue Storms. It's just you're waiting for it to escalate in an interesting way, and that escalation comes way too fast, and then it's over. And I mean that with everything in this movie. I'm not talking about
they don't get any time together. They don't ever spend a scene together. Like, once they get their powers, they're never together again until, like, the end fight.
Yeah, and I think that's my issue, is, like, I think that this movie's drowning in potential, but it's like it doesn't do anything with its potential.
I agree.
Because when the movie started, I genuinely mean this, when the movie started, I actually started to think maybe this isn't gonna be that bad. because I liked the opening scenes. I thought it had like an interesting start, and then it just drags and it drags, and then like when things finally get started, it's over.
If I'm being fair, I do think this film is better than its reputation, but not by a lot. I still think it's a bad movie. The pacing is fucking terrible. The pacing is all over the place. And that's probably a symptom of Marvel not liking Josh Trank's cut and going, or Fox not liking Josh Trank's cut and going in and, like, reshooting a bunch of stuff and making it, like, a completely different movie. It's a mess tonally because, like, clearly Josh Trank's cut is a lot darker than what Fox wanted. So Fox keeps trying to lighten it up, but there's still, like, those really dark scenes in there. Also, you can tell at least with Kate Mara, you can tell which scenes were reshot because she has a wig that does not match her normal hair. Like, her normal hair is, like, dyed blonde, but you can still see, like, the brown roots. And then sometimes she'll just be, like, full blonde. And it's like, that is obviously a wig. Like, it's kind of, like, there is at least one shot where it's, like, embarrassingly obvious that it's a wig. And I'm like, this is a problem, like, The Room would have, you know? The Room would have a problem where one of their actors is in another movie and had to, like, change their hairstyle for a different movie, and they have to, like, put a shitty-looking wig on her for reshoots. It's, like, kind of unacceptable in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It's like almost on the level of, like, Henry Cavill's fake hairless upper lip in Justice League. You remember that? You remember when they CG'd out his mustache?
Yeah. I never even saw that movie, but I know about that.
Let's talk about this cast. 'Cause, like, Miles Teller, you know, decent actor, loved him in Whiplash. Not a good Reed Richards, frankly.
I was open to him at the start of the movie. Like I said, him and his chemistry of Ben. Like, I really felt there was something there. I thought the awkward nerd was there with him. But by the end of the movie, it was just like, nah, I think I'm with everybody else on this. This doesn't work. And I don't think it was, like, so immediately terrible, you know?
I get what you're saying, but, like... And I get what they were trying to do with this particular Reed Richards, but he's supposed to be, like, this refined older guy, you know? It's like the gray streaks in his hair are part of the character, you know?
Yeah.
And Miles Teller is just not the right choice for that role.
Yeah.
I guess he's fine for what they're trying to do with him, but also, like, the script sucks, so, like, there's no point where I'm like, oh, this is a good Reed Richards.
Right.
Like, I like he and Ben's relationship, but outside of that, no, not really. Meanwhile, like, you pitched to me, like, what is your ideal Fantastic Four casting? And I was thinking about it. Michael B. Jordan, not a bad pick for the Human Torch, frankly.
Yeah.
He plays like that really self-confident dickhead character really well. That is a character he has in him I think he plays that character when he's Killmonger a little bit, you know?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So I think he's a good choice for the Human Torch, for Johnny Storm. That being said, like, I don't give a shit about, like, you race-swapping superheroes. You can absolutely do this. If you're gonna make the Human Torch black, you should also make his sister black. Why is his sister still white in this movie?
I mean, was it a white mom and black dad, or was she adopted? I forgot.
It's established in the movie that she was adopted. She's an adoptive sister.
Then I think that's kind of forcing a way. That to me feels like forcing a way to make her white still.
Yeah.
Where if it was like a multiracial couple, I mean, that those do exist.
Sure, but in a multiracial couple, you're not going to get a white kid and a black kid.
That's not true. That does happen.
Okay, sure, fine.
I mean, I don't know how the genetics work, but I figure both would be possible.
But, like, a black woman in STEM who gets the power of invisibility, that shit writes itself. You could do so much with that idea. And you're just like, nah, she needs to be white because she's hot, because she dates Reed Richards. I don't know. Like, why did this character need to be white? Make her black. Make the Invisible Woman black. Come on.
I don't think I'm fine. I mean, I'd be fine with it either way. I think the adoption line is unnecessary. I think it should just be multi-racial couple at that point. But I don't think it matters that much. I think it would have been fine if they made Sue Storm black in this. But I think that I think my thing is that almost would be something I'm more fixated on in a reality where the movie got more things right. Because at this point, that just seems like an insignificant one considering how much.
Sure. Like, make Sue Storm black, this movie still sucks. Granted, that problem with the wig might not be as big a deal if she was black, but yeah, sure. Like, make her black, that doesn't fix the movie at all. Important note. This is Michael B. Jordan's second appearance, because he had the cameo as himself in Space Jam 2.
Oh, boy, Space Jam 2 should count as like 7 movies. Oh no, not Space Jam 2. I'm so sorry, Michael.
I thought that joke was a little bit funny, where they're when Sylvester's like, guys, I found Michael Jordan, and it's Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
It's the closest thing to a funny joke that movie has.
I'll give you that.
In a similar vein, their dad, played by Reg E. Cathy, who's actually making a return appearance, he was also in Tank Girl.
Okay. Hey, there's a deep cut. It's been a while.
We also forgot to mention Doug Jones as the Silver Surfer in the last movie. Also in Tank Girl, probably one of the guys in the kangaroo suits.
I was looking at his roles, it seems like it's a lot of getting into costumes.
No, that's what Doug Jones is known for. That's what Doug Jones is famous for. He is like the guy you put in a suit. I think he was like the fish guy from Shape of Water, and also Hellboy. He was also in Tank Girl. But, Reggie, Cathy, you were saying you thought he was gonna end up being Doom? And I'm like, yo, Black Doctor Doom would go hard, though. Maybe I'm just saying that because of MF Doom, but, like, Black Doctor Doom would go hard, though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, you think Robert Downey Jr. could do it? Robert Downey Jr. could be Black Doctor Doom.
I don't know. I gotta stand by what I said earlier. Robert Downey Jr. feels like Robert Downey Jr. just doesn't need to be involved in Marvel anymore. You know,
I agree.
He's kind of the king of it. He went in. He's the face of like one of the biggest franchises of all time. They killed him off. It's like, you're good. You did everything you need to here. Anything else could just sour it. It sounds like you're probably gonna sour it.
Like that character went out when he should have.
Yeah, that was great.
So I don't know about bringing him back.
It feels desperate. It feels desperate to me, and I like to be a little bit more optimistic than that, but it's like, how much of an impact would that ending scene in Endgame have if you prefaced it with like, oh, don't worry, he's gonna be back in a few years, guys. He's gonna be back in a few years. Don't really let it. I don't know. It just seems kind of silly.
Michael B. Jordan, not the only one who has made his way into the MCU. Kate Mara was actually in the MCU before this. She has a minor role in Iron Man 2.
Okay.
Also, Tim Blake Nelson is one of the investors, and he was like the main villain in the Incredible Hulk movie.
That one actually could. Hulk versus Hulk could absolutely be a pair up one day.
Oh yeah, no, we were talking about that. Hulk versus Hulk could absolutely happen.
Honest to God, Iron Man 2 even could be something, because people did not like that when it came out. I didn't like it when it came out.
2 and 3 both, were not well received. I don't like either of them.
I never saw the third one. I saw 2 in theaters. That was my first Marvel movie, and I had a bad time, but I eventually grew to like Robert Downey Jr. in like event when I saw Avengers, because I think Avengers was the second MCU movie I saw. I was like, oh, this is really cool. I like this. Jamie Bell as okay, cool. I liked the personality at the start. It's the same issue I have with all of these, where it's just it didn't continue. It didn't stay interesting.
Yeah.
But at first I was like kind of down with this guy. He was in the Chum Scrubber, like you mentioned.
Yeah, no, he was in one of the very first movies mentioned on this show.
Yeah.
The Chum Scrubber.
Because, yeah, I think the first discussion we ever had was, like, just movies that you like that other people consider bad, and the Chum Scrubber had a bit of a reputation. I showed that to you like a year, like a year ago I showed you that, finally.
I enjoyed it.
And you liked it too.
Yeah, it's kind of sub Donnie Darko, but it's a very enjoyable film. I recommend The Chum Scrubber. That one has the Hollow Victories seal of approval.
I think I like The Chum Scrubber more than Donnie Darko, but I agree with that statement. Like, this movie probably doesn't exist without Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
But I still, the sense of humor and the, like, some of, like, the really emotional scenes really, like, put it over Donnie Darko for me. And I like Donnie Darko a lot, by the way.
He also played Tintin in the Adventures of Tintin movie from 2011. Have you seen that one?
No, I've heard good things about her. It's charming.
It's very good. Edgar Wright wrote that one.
He's
one of the writers on that.
I actually heard that too, yeah. He was in Rocket Man.
He was.
One of the better biopics, that's not saying much. Music biopics, I should say. Walk Hard is the best musician biopic, by far.
Absolutely. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. I'm glad Dewey Cox finally got his story out there.
Yeah, me too. Did you know his brother got halved?
Huh. Wild. You know who else is in this movie? Which is weird because we were kind of talking about him during this movie. Tim Heidecker of Tim and Eric fame.
Oh, where?
He is Reed Richards' father.
How the fuck did I miss that? That's funny. Very small role. That's really funny. Actually, I had no idea he was in this. By the way, Kate Mara and Jamie Bell are married. I just saw that looking this up.
Interesting.
Like 2 years after Fan Four Stick. So Fan Four Stick created a real love.
Just like Green Lantern.
Yeah. What?
What's where Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively met.
Oh, that's great. That's great that happened.
Someone else we have to acknowledge in this movie. His teacher at the beginning of the movie, Dan Castellaneta. Homer Simpson himself.
Fuck!
Making his third appearance on Hollow Victories. He was in Space Jam and Cat in the Hat.
How the fuck did I miss Tim Heidecker and Homer Simpson? Jesus Christ.
To be fair, like, you're not used to seeing Homer Simpson's face. I didn't realize it was him until I looked it up.
I love Dan Castellaneta though. He voiced the genie and it sounded just like Homer Simpson. Homer's one of my favorite cartoon voices though. I gotta give respect.
Chet Hanks is in this movie? Tom Hanks' son?
Oh,
Tom
hey,
Hanks' son, Chet Hanks.
Is that the guy who voices Woody in all the rides and all that stuff?
No, that's his brother.
Oh, I thought Chet Hanks.
That's Tom Hanks' brother.
Oh, who's Chet Hanks then?
Chet Hanks is his son, who was apparently in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He's student in library in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Okay, second appearance for Chet Hanks, I guess.
So Dan Castellaneta was in Cat in the Hat. What was the other movie he was in?
Space Jam.
Oh, okay.
And he's live action in Space Jam, weirdly enough. He's like, there's that scene where he and like it's the lady from Everybody Loves Raymond, I think. They're at like the basketball game and the Monstars sit down next to them. Dan
Castellaneta could appear, and I don't think he has enough to maybe be king potential, but he has enough to be in the run-in, like, because Return of Jafar, the first direct-to-video Disney sequel, he was Genie, like I referenced earlier. He was in the first Hey Arnold movie, which I don't necessarily think we'd cover that, but it's not a good movie. The Jungle movie was what the Hey Arnold movie was supposed to be. The Hey Arnold movie is a spy movie that sucks horribly.
Seems more likely to show up on like your show TV movies.
It will, yeah.
You gotta You got a TV movies coming out soon, right? We'll plug that right here. Hopefully
This
this
might-
will be out around the time of this.
Around the time this is probably coming out first.
Probably.
I was about to say he was in that piece of shit Pulp Fiction as a joke, but it's actually called Plump Fiction.
That is a completely different movie.
What the fuck is this? This looks like the porn parody of Pulp Fiction. Is it?
It's a parody, certainly. I don't know if it's a porn parody.
This is like the shitty camera quality. It's like, God, this was 97. Cameras weren't that bad in 97. Anyone else to bring up from Fan Force Stick? Miles Teller, I think, I know we already talked about him. I think he gave an okay performance. It's just it didn't go anywhere. That's my issue with most of these guys.
Yeah,
Starts off interesting, doesn't go anywhere.
Toby Kebbell or Keeble, perhaps, as Dr. Doom, as the incel Victor, the Victor who, like, is super isolated all the time. And then that ties into his story where he's isolated on that asteroid.
Whoa.
It's like poetry, it rhymes. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Fant Four Stick? We have passed the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, you know what? It's a happy anniversary, Matt. Happy 4-year anniversary. God, so much shit has happened since we started the show. I remember being so excited, like we're recording that first episode. I remember I was like on a vacation when we were talking about Garfield and Marmaduke. You know, we just got done doing the first one. Ever since then, I made my channel Spiny. You and Mitzi live together now. Like it just feels like we've all met in person. Like it just feels like so much shit has happened. Hollow Victories has been there through. So I think out of all the projects we've worked on together, Hollow Victories has to be the longest running one.
As far as stuff we've done together, yeah, almost certainly.
Because like it predates Spiny Norman. Makal and Zatch ended. Dungeons and Duckies didn't last very long.
I would like to see that one come back.
I haven't 100% given up on it. It's just time. It stresses me out.
I get you. Like, I would offer to take over, but, like, I'm working on so much of my own stuff.
No, for sure. It's not out of the question. I'll say this, like, Beakles is out of the question at this point. A lot of the stuff I did on, like, Movie Makal is out of the question at this point. Dungeons and Duckies isn't out of the question. It's just, it's becoming hard to say it's likely coming back, considering the last few years. But I would still like to see it breathe life. And as far as I'm aware, Zach has not deleted any of the audio. Anyway. Happy anniversary. I really enjoyed doing the show with you for 4 years. I'm down to keep doing it for however long you want to do it.
For sure.
It's been fun, and I'm glad that we got to finally do... I felt like this year, I feel like we really got to dive into some of the ones I was excited about, like Smosh and Fred and Shrek and Godfather. You know, the stupid ones.
There are definitely times where it becomes, like, a bit of a chore, a bit of an obligation, just because, like, we've got so much other shit going on. This one especially.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know, I have fun watching these movies with you.
100%, and, like, at the same time, it's like, I was jokingly bitching to you about having to watch Fantastic Four again when you messaged me, like, a week ago, where I was just like, I messaged you saying, this is an unfair relationship, Matt. I suffer for Hollow Victories, and then I suffer on my own channel too with Spiny. But then it's like, at the same time, I'm always happy that we're doing this. It's just like,
oh yeah, I mean, there are movies I would have fucking hated watching, except like I had fun watching it with you and like whoever else joined. Smiley was fun because you and Cass just like riffed on it the whole time. Like that movie is ass, but we had fun with it.
Yeah, no, I remember that one. I remember what I was doing that day. I remember I picked up my sister right after watching that because it left an impact, you know? And it only left an impact because we made jokes watching it.
It's been fantastic.
Wait.
I thought it was like first off, I think we should mention that in the 94 movie there's just like a random part where like before they've even gotten their powers, like Johnny and Sue's mom is just like, wow, you guys are the Fantastic Four. And it's like, what an awkward, forced way to do that. But then in the 2005 Fantastic Four, there's like 2 or 3 times where they just like incidentally say fantastic, and every time you and I were both like, wait, say that again.
What I love about that too is like that that whole bit is slightly off because of like the whole bit started because Zach brought that up on Duckcast years ago when me and him were still doing that show. And we started like just saying that over and over as like a running bit. And it's like, it's not an original bit. I'm sure we're not the only ones to have done that. Obviously, like we're doing it now for this show. But it's like, I always had the miscommunication though because of that bit that the line is wait, say that again. But it's actually just say that again. There is no wait to be mentioned in Fan Four Stick.
Huh.
But wait, say that again is funnier.
We also did it in Silver Surfer. Like Johnny has a fight with the guy, and he's like describing him, and Reed is like, "Well, whatever we're gonna do about this Silver Surfer," and I'm like, "Wait, say that again."
Oh, the surfer, he's so silver. Wait, wait.
Anyway, let's fucking vote because this episode has gone on way too long.
I have to go on a road trip in 5 hours.
Yeah, I guess you're going first here.
So I'm gonna rank them from to worst to best. I'm gonna put Silver Surfer in last place. I respect it the least.
Really interesting.
I really don't like Silver Surfer. I think it's the worst one. Fan Four Stick is so close. It is like by a thread. It's that I think it at least sets up an interesting idea. I feel like the film has a personality. It's just in execution, it's bad. I understand. Me and Zach were actually having a conversation about this last night. It was the first time I spoke to him since the Oscars, probably. And I was like, I just messaged him about it because we had that running bit, and I was just like, hey, I finally saw them, by the way. And like we disagreed on that, which one was worse, because I do think Silver Surfer is worse than Fan Four Stick, but I don't think it's by much. I respect Fan Four Stick at the very least had an interesting start, where I feel like Silver Surfer, it's like you're like really trying to search for those scenes of like decency, and there's not a lot in there. I'm gonna put 94 in second place, and I'm gonna say that 2005 Fantastic Four is almost a good movie. It's not there, but it's almost a good movie. I kind of like it. It's just the things that set it back really set it back, but it's definitely the best of these four to me.
I'm going to disagree with you on the bottom two. I do think Fantastic is the worst movie. Granted, I might rewatch it sooner than Silver Surfer just because it's like kind of funny how many things it gets wrong. Like, I was excited to revisit Fantastic with you because I'm like, oh, I remember how fucking shit that movie was. I watched that, like, not long after it came. I didn't watch it in theaters, obviously, but a friend of mine got it on DVD, and he's like, yo, let's just, like, watch Fantastic, and I'm like, alright, sure, why not? So Fantastic is going in last place, then Silver Surfer, then the 94 movie, and I gotta agree, the 2005 movie is the closest to being something actually good. I was mentioning to you, like, I was trying to think of a single other superhero that has been tried 4 times with 0 success. With where every single one of them is considered bad. Cause like Superman probably has at least 4 bad movies, but it also has at least 2 good movies. You know, there's maybe 4 bad Batman movies out there, but there's plenty of good Batman movies. When a character has that many movies, sure, some of them are gonna end up bad, but no one has failed as many times as the Fantastic Four.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? I love the young people.
The audience is like overwhelmingly with us for a 4-way vote. Fantastic Four 2005 came away with 75% of the vote.
Wow.
Like, people agree that is the best one.
I'm not that surprised because I do think it's kind of significant, like a significant improvement from the other three, but it's also like 70. That's for a 4-way. That's a lot.
It is. In order, Rise of the Silver Surfer, 11%, 94, 9%, Fantastic 5%. And I did have people in the comments saying, like, how the fuck did Fantastic get any votes?
It's different enough to where I could see some people leaning towards that one, because there might be stuff about the two, like the 2005 and 2007 and 1994 that people like really, some people like really turned off by that.
Like I can understand why you would pick 94. I can understand why you would pick Silver Surfer. I'm not really sure why you would pick Fantastic other than like it's the funniest one. It's like the funny bad one. And even then, I don't even think it's that funny bad.
Maybe if you hate superhero movies, because it's the least like a superhero movie.
Shout out to Jim Loves Jess, who gave the only correct answer to what is the best Fantastic Four movie, The Incredibles.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I can't fight that.
They got like 3 of the 4 powers in there.
I think technically they have all 4.
I mean, if you want to count like
Jack.
Jack's variety of powers, yeah, probably all 4.
Because he can
also,
flame on.
Syndrome is a fairly Doom-esque villain. And the movie even ends with, like, the Underminer, who is straight up a Mole Man parody.
Right. And then Dash is Sonic the Hedgehog. Or you could say Flash, I guess, if you wanted to be fucking racist about it.
Obviously, he's Quicksilver. The character who was in both the MCU and the X-Men movies. And I think even, like, the actors who played both of them were in a movie together. So it's just like, yeah, here's the 2 Quicksilvers.
All right, Matt, how are we starting year 5 off?
All right, well, we're going from one very special episode to another, because this is our 49th episode. So next episode is gonna be our 50th episode. And I have known right from the start what I wanted our 50th episode to be.
And Sardonicast is covering it next week.
Oh, I guess we should say Fantastic Four 2005
Woo.
Okay, next time on Hollow Victories, for our 50th episode, a matchup so obvious that we could only do it for a special event episode. Like, this has to be the 50th episode, because it is just too obvious to be anywhere else. Next time on Hollow Victories, it's The Legend of the Titanic versus Titanic The Legend Goes On.
Oh my god. I've only seen fucking reviews of those 2 movies.
It's too obvious. There's 2 animated Titanic movies. We have to do that. That has to be an episode of this show. And it has to be a special episode. So for our 50th episode, the 2 animated Titanic movies.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
You know, there's something you should know, so I'm gonna tell you so.
Don't sweat it. Forget it. Enjoy the show.
Party time. Party time.
I guess we'll have a party time next time on Hollow Victories. Anything else?
No, I'm excited to actually watch these. I saw Nostalgia Critic, I saw JonTron, I've never watched them.
I feel like this is gonna be at least my 3rd time watching one of these. Yeah, until next time, I am Matt Presents for my co-host Makal Shadackle. We will see you in the next one.
And I think Sadie just said peace for me. I feel fantastic, and I never felt as good as I do right now, except for maybe when I think about the felt that day when I felt the way that I do right now. Right now, I feel fantastic, and I never felt as good as I do right now, except for maybe when I think about I felt that day when I felt the way that I do right now, right now, right now.